Right. Yeah. So, welcome everyone. As you know, we have these two amazing speakers today. They are both women in tech, and they are also amazing TikTokers with a great following, and they make such great content. And we're so excited to have them today. I'm going to turn it over to Fatima to do our intro of our organization and a little bit more about us.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, thank you everyone for joining. We're so excited to have you, and we're so excited to have Liz and Samin here. So for those of you who are, first time joining a MWT event, we just want to talk a little bit about our mission and who we are. And so our mission is to empower Muslim women and underrepresented groups in tech through a variety of different events and programs. So we try to do things like recruitment, technical and professional workshops. You might have seen some of the events that we've done earlier this year. We have a Microsoft event coming up later this year. But we also try to do, casual and more fun events too, just to connect the community. We also are working on forming a mentorship program. And we're just trying to form, this network. And we currently have more than 400 people in our community, and it's been really great. And we've had about 10 or more events per year. And yeah, it's just been a really fun time, and we're just growing every day. So that's MWT. Anything else to add there, Sarah?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're also like a big thing that we try to focus on is intersectionality. So whether it be if you identify as Muslim, if you don't, if you are a person of color, if you are white, if you're whatever you are, we are very big on allyship and intersectionality. So our community is open to everyone, and our events are catered towards whoever is willing to just be part of this community and support each other. So yeah, we can turn it away to the and then yeah, okay, so a little bit about today's agenda. We're just as we went over the introduction, and we're going to have the panelists introduce themselves, um, and then we're going to leave some time for some Q&A, and we'll wrap it up then, because I know it's a Saturday and people want to go on with their day sometimes too. But yeah, Liz, do you mind starting off with introing yourself?
For sure. So, hello, I am Liz. Right now, I am a developer evangelist at Shopify, but I've spent the past like 3 years working in e-commerce as a software developer. Um, I never would have seen myself in software development. Like in high school, I liked math and I liked science, but I like literally did not know what coding was. And it wasn't until I started in university in like my second year, I took intro to comp sci and I was like, wow, this is like so cool. You can build things with your mind. And so I decided to switch into comp sci. And that was like a big struggle of like starting like this like whole journey where I had no idea about coding. I didn't feel like I like felt in with lots of people who are in computer science. I didn't have like the same sort of hobbies. But luckily I was able to find a community of women like in computer science with me, like really helped me through my computer science journey in school. So that's like why I'm very passionate about like coming to these sort of things, because I know how important it is for community and how helpful it is like getting through the process. Um, how I got into TikTok, well, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was quarantine. I remember it was like 10 days after like things shut down, and I joked with like my roommate that we should start a TikTok account. And then I did. I said I was going to be a fashion TikToker because I thought that would be fun. So I made one fashion TikTok. It took like 4 hours. I had like 7 different outfits. It got like 500 views, so that was pretty cool. I was pretty pumped with that. Um, but then I kept seeing more TikToks, and I thought I can make a lot of computer science jokes like from these like templates or like these memes. So I made a couple of computer science like TikToks, and then one got 200,000 views. And that just like hooked me. I thought it was so fun to be creative in this way and like share my struggles as a software developer just in a fun way. And now, a year later, I have got a job from TikTok. and I have 50,000 followers. So that's sort of been my journey in tech and in TikTok.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Sameen, do you mind sharing yours?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Sameen, also known as Cyber Nerd on TikTok. And I didn't have a traditional pathway into tech. I actually studied marketing in my undergrad program. And then I was working in digital marketing, and I'd worked many jobs, and I was working with the government when I felt like uh, I had clients on the side as well, and I was dealing with all of these like cyber attacks my clients were dealing with. They were losing their accounts on social media, and I was kind of frustrated that I couldn't do anything to help them. And that's when I started to look more into cybersecurity. There was actually a program that popped up that would it's special select program for women, and if you applied you can get into it and get SANS training, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with SANS, but they're a big institution and they train individuals. They train the US military for cybersecurity. So I got accepted to that program, and that's kind of when I really became very passionate about cybersecurity. I decided to become an ethical hacker and also a cybersecurity consultant. So right now I work full time, and I also have my own company where I do consultancy. So I work at a company called eCentire as a security analyst, and eCentire is a cybersecurity organization, so they help other organizations with all of their cybersecurity. And I also have clients on the side. So one of my clients was Ryerson University, and I got to educate high school students in cybersecurity, and that was really exciting. How I got into TikTok was actually kind of similar to Liz. Like I was making fashion TikToks, like hijab tutorials, and they were doing well, but like they were like 500, 200, and that was exciting. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep posting these. And then, like as I was mentioning earlier, I had a dream about this cyber nerd handle. So I decided to start making some cybersecurity TikToks. They did well. I made a couple. They got like 1,000, 2,000 views. And then when I posted like this TikTok, it's advice from a hacker. And that one just blew up. Like that one got like, in one day, I went from like having 200 followers to 10K followers from that one video. Like it was crazy. So that kind of really inspired me to continue, making TikToks. And then I didn't know, but within TikTok, there was this Tech Talk community, and it includes amazing creators like Liz and a lot of other creators, and a lot of them are women. So just seeing that really inspired me to continue creating TikToks. And one of my biggest things for TikTok was to educate people in terms of cybersecurity, like to keep themselves safe, and also especially the vulnerable population. There's a lot of Gen Z, and they do wild things on TikTok, and they don't really realize how they're putting themselves at risk. So that was one of my big things. Like I wanted to protect them and anyway, and also inspire young women to enter any tech field, really, that women can do it too, because a lot of times women are discouraged from these pathways. So that's kind of my journey. Yeah, really excited to be here today. You're on mute.
I think as someone as a viewer on TikTok, I think seeing that just as an audience of like both of you is just really empowering too. Like it really is, it comes back to that representation really is important when you like sometimes you just feel so alone, and then you're like, hey, not only are these other women going through this, like they, first of all, both of your outfits are always so, or your outfits are so cute, and I love that too. It's cool seeing that too, like someone who's super smart, like has like those other interests, and they're just overlap in so many other ways. So I think it's really awesome both of you guys are doing this, and you decided to tap into more of the tech space. And also it's interesting hearing you mentioned, Sameen, I think Liz, you also said this, it's the way the TikTok algorithm works is like overnight you can just really like increase your reach. Like it's insane, but clearly there's a community of people who love your content, so that's awesome. So that leads me to my next question. So you both have these day jobs. Sameen, you said you also have like your own side business. And you also create content. How in the world are you guys doing this? Liz, do you want to start us off?
For sure. So definitely it is a balancing act of doing everything that you want to do. But also, like, I know that I create TikToks because I enjoy it and I know that it makes people happy to see them. So I try not to like have too much pressure on myself. Usually like I write down ideas that like, oh, this is like a scenario that I want to like represent in a TikTok, or like this is a sometimes I see like really good videos and so I save them and I don't necessarily know how I'm gonna turn it and spin it into my own thing, but I know that this is some sort of thing that I want to do. Really, yeah, I just try not to take it too seriously. Like this is just something that I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it to make other people happy. I'm doing it to show that you can be a woman in tech that likes, fashion and doing their makeup. And those are all things that are normal interests to have in tech.
Yeah, it's great. Samine, do you also mind taking on this question?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like I think that a lot of my work that I do inspires my TikToks and conversations that I have with people. So whenever like I'm like, okay, this would be a good TikTok, I have like a notebook and I write it down. And then if I have time in that moment, I'll record it. And I know a lot of mine, like I don't put in that much effort like Liz does. Like Liz's TikToks they're high quality production. Like she's got like 4 different outfits, and I remember the one she did where she was like showing different like languages. You were like Python, like C+, like those are so cool. So I'll just, if I have an idea, I'll just like quickly record it. And I don't know if you've seen, it's like me pointing at things and I'm just talking about important things. So I'm going to be honest, like not a lot of effort goes into that. Like it takes 5 minutes, and sometimes when I was starting out, I was like reshoot them, but now I'm just like one take, that's it. It's the message that's important. So I just put it out there. Yeah. So and you know what, like sometimes you do face burnout. Like I'm like, I haven't made a TikTok in 2 weeks. I haven't, but then you have to remind yourself that it's okay. Like there's a lot of content that, it keeps showing up on people's For You page as well. But then to do what feels right to you, to be comfortable with it and to take time out for yourself as well.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, because you also have like these other sides to you guys too that you, I'm sure, like want to work on too. And then I guess like I think we touched on this a little earlier, but in what ways do you think you get to express your creative side at work, if at all? And what advice would you give someone who doesn't feel like they're able to really fully express themselves at their day jobs? And Liz, do you mind starting off?
I can sort of start so I just recently started working at Shopify as a dev evangelist. And so they found me from my TikToks, and I'm actually making TikToks for Shopify right now. So you can follow at Shopify Devs if you want to see even more Liz TikToks. So that's like a very interesting, I get to be creative in that way at work, but I understand that this is a very interesting role. Probably no one else has quite the same thing. So, but the past 2 years before this, I was just working as a software developer at work. And so like it is that sort of interesting, like how do you show your creativity at work and how do you fully express yourself at work? Something that was like sort of hard for me was like I joined a team of all men and they had some sort of like, they didn't have the same interests as me, but I thought that was okay. And I would just share my stories or share my interests with them and be like, hey, like I saw this really cool hair tutorial and it was like this. And like we'd all like joke about it, but this was a way that we still found ways to connect with our different interests. And they would tell me about like, oh, this is like the video game I was playing and this is how it worked. And so you'd be surprised about, even though you're like these people I work with, they might not have the same interests as me. Just sort of be yourself, be authentic and share. And you'd be surprised what people can connect with you with. I also at work, like once you get more comfortable, like when you first start a job, it's definitely hard to be your full self. You're trying to like learn like how to fit in, how to be good. I want to impress people. But I also learned that I am who I am. And so it's fun to just express yourself. So as someone who makes TikToks, you could probably tell I'm a little bit quirky. So that might mean like me posting some memes in Slack when I feel like I want to brighten up the group, or it definitely, you probably are going to not always feel comfortable being yourself at work. But once you get to know people, hopefully you have support in your team. I would suggest like just sort of be yourself, share whatever you want, and you'll be surprised how people can connect with you.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice, and very honest too at the same time. Sabine, how have you approached it?
My approach has been quite similar to Liz's approach, where just be yourself type thing, talk to people, connect with people, and you might not like have that same relationship with everyone. You might find people that you're able to be more comfortable around. I actually would make in the earlier stages, because I started TikTok before COVID when we were actually in the office and stuff, and I pulled my coworkers into making TikToks with me. So we had a lot of fun like that. And also like Liz mentioned, like she's able to integrate her creative side at Shopify. She's able to create TikToks for them. Similar to that, some of the clients I've had, because I do have a marketing background, they've asked me to integrate some of that creativity into the work. So like Ryerson asked me to promote the project I was working on using my TikTok. So it's kind of cool. It's important that you highlight that aspect, and you mention that you do have it, and that you mention an interest in being creative at work. Like I got added to the advisory board for this UI UX project because I mentioned that I was interested in that creative side of things. So it's also important to mention like some of your interests and highlight those, and then you can kind of like fit in into different areas. And like Liz said, just be yourself and don't be afraid to express yourself, and be authentic as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because I think sometimes like I'll be honest, like I don't feel like I can talk about those other interests I have, like, oh, that I like when they ask me about my weekend, I won't necessarily be like, yeah, I spent like a bunch of hours learning like a random TikTok dance or whatever. Like I feel like I have to be like, oh yeah, like I Netflixed, even though that's not what I was doing. But yeah, I think that's true. Like sometimes you just have to be honest with who you are, and then opportunities might come your way from that. And it seems like that's what's happened for both of you. So that's exciting. And then going back a little bit, I don't know, like, so Samin, both of you guys said you kind of like when you come up with ideas, you kind of just jot them down. Is there more to the creative process of creating a TikTok? Maybe Liz, for you, probably a little bit more, because yours have a little more work put into them in terms of like the visuals and stuff. Like I know like sounds are a big thing on TikTok. Do you guys have any advice for people who might want to get into it? Whoever wants to take that question.
I can take that. So I can sort of talk about my process. So for Shopify, for my Shopify TikToks, I try to do educational style content about concepts that are important if you want to develop with Shopify. So those ones definitely do take even more work than my personal ones. So what I do is I have a brainstorming session, and I like read a whole bunch of like blog posts, and I write down a whole bunch of like sort of like bigger concepts that I want to talk about. And then I decide on a concept. So I decided on like API versioning, and then I do a whole bunch of like research and deep dive into API versioning and like different strategies and why it's important. And then I have a whole bunch of information, but I have to distill it down into like a 30-second TikTok. So then I have to figure out what is the most important information. So I like pull out like several bullet points of like, this is like the most important information I want to get across. And then finally, I have to turn that into a TikTok. Like TikTok is different than like a YouTube video, or it's different than writing a blog post. You have to get people's attention in like 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds. So how do I turn this into a video that's fun, that captures people's attention, keeps them engaged the whole time, but still like gets the point across? For lots of these educational videos, I try to do like metaphors, like how like an idea in tech could be in real life. So I did like imagine for API versioning, I did imagine if you just drove up to the gas station one day and it was switched to electric cars charging station. Like this is why API versioning is important. We need to allow people to access the new thing while still being able to access the old thing, because they might have like a lot of infrastructure that's important required on the old thing. That's sort of my process for the Shopify ones. Sounds are important, like trending sounds will get you boosted onto the algorithm, but you really just need to be making content that people are enjoying and finding value from.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I didn't realize that you had to do so much research for the other ones, but I guess that makes sense. That's great metaphors. Like I actually yeah, I understood that right away once you brought that up. So that's pretty cool. Samin, how have you gone about it?
Honestly, like I'm not gonna lie. I haven't had too much like I haven't put that much intensive work into any of it. The thing is, I have a lot of notes and I have a lot of notes from work, or if I have a conversation, like I said, I will jot it down in my notebook and say, I want to make a TikTok about this later. And then while I'm making the TikTok, I'll kind of map it out, make sure I have all the information. Sometimes I've had to redo it. I'm like, okay, I've posted and I'm like, I'm missing this information, reshot it again as well. That's pretty much that for me. And like, as you said, like, how do I find sound? So a lot of times I'm scrolling through TikTok and there'll be a sound that's very catchy to me and I'll just press on it, add to favorites. So I have it in the favorites. If I see a video that I can apply to a concept, I will actually copy the link and send it, like text the video to myself with a little note that's like, this is the idea that I want to use that's similar to this. A lot of other creators also inspire my content. Like they might be talking about like, as an example, they might be talking about something in forensics or they have a concept that's laid out. I'm like, that's really interesting. I think I can add another layer to this by doing that. And when I do that, I do tag the creators that inspired me. So I'll be like inspired by or taken thing. I think it's really important to give credit where it's due. So that's what the process looks like for me. For longer TikToks, and I did make a 3-minute TikTok video because now we have access to longer TikToks. So I did make for that one, I did put more thought into it. I wrote down each of the points I wanted to talk about. Then I went about it. So yeah.
Wow, I didn't know about the 3-minute thing. That's really cool. I'm used to like 15 seconds. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I think
And
it's
another
a new
interesting
feature. Sorry,
Oh,
I think it's a
nice.
new feature. Yeah.
That's cool. And I think another interesting thing, Samin, for you is like when people hear about like coding or tech, the first thing they want to know about is hacking. So you have that thing that really draws people in too. So I think that is probably another part of it that really brings people in. Um, and Samin, what would you say has been your favorite TikTok trend so far? It could be anything, like maybe something you've seen.
Honestly, there's been so many trends that have been my favorite, but some of my favorite trends are from like the when like COVID hit and like those sounds like play in my head, like they give you nostalgic vibes. Like one of them was like when what was that song? And they're not like cybersecurity related at all. It was like, no, I can't. And then you run far away and then you just do a random dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like those catchy ones. Another one that's kind of more recent is like, I don't know the song, but it's like when you're remembering something you did and like everyone's like covering their face every 2 seconds. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I know they do the turn,
yeah.
yeah.
That was I like seeing that. And then one of the new ones is like that run that people are doing in that whole weird like costume. It's like very new. It's like they have this blue dress on and they're running in the castle.
Oh
You
yes,
know what
I've
I'm
seen that.
talking about?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
It's
I
funny.
just not for content creation. I just like watching those and how
Enjoy it.
everybody puts like a different spin on it.
Mhm.
It's fun for me to watch. Like it's fun for me to consume content on TikTok as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think like the past couple months, one that's really struck with me is like the antibody yachty, like the remix. It's like I got the antibody yachty. Liz, what's been like your favorite so far?
I just really like the videos that people make that like romanticize their like daily lives. Like I love all the like 30-second like daily vlogs that are just like clips of people like living their life, but they make it look like really aesthetic and like super cool. I think that was like really nice to see like during the pandemic, and like yeah, that made me be like, I'm gonna make like a nice latte and I'm gonna feel like
Yeah.
an influencer because I have my oat milk and things like that. That's just, it's fun to like find those like little joys in your life. So
Yes.
I enjoy those videos.
I think the sound even was is you've got to start, what is it? You've got to start romanticizing your, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so true. Like you have to, once you start like appreciating the little things, like your whole life, like you just, it just things start to like look up a little bit. Um, we talked about some of the good. I'm sure there's some difficulties that tend to come up. You guys have a lot of followers. You guys are women in the space. Can you talk to some of the difficulties you've had as like if you're a person of color, if you're a woman, if you're a Muslim woman, if you're just a woman in the space, if you're just someone with a lot of followers on TikTok, like how do you navigate through that part of it? Um, Liz, do you want to start off?
For sure. So I remember like growing up, I was like in high school and stuff, I was very into watching like the YouTube beauty girls. And they would often talk about how having one mean comment would just like really get to them. And I was like, I can't believe that. You have like 100,000 followers. How could you let one mean comment get to you? And then I had one of my first like really mean comments on one of my videos. And just like about like how, you know, you only got your job because you're a woman, and like, you know, you're actually probably very dumb and stuff like that. And I like, it just like struck me so hard, and I was like so sad about it. I'm like, he doesn't know me. I'm actually smart. Like I got my job because like I'm smart and I'm good at it. And that really got to me. And I was like, wow, they were right. Like one mean comment can like, you can have like hundreds of like comments like saying they love the video, but one mean one can like, it would just really get to me. And especially in the beginning, I had a hard time with like, because I would still like read all my comments. Like it was so exciting to like have like these people writing on your videos. So I would read all them, but some of them were, yeah, a fair amount of like, it's not uncommon for people, you get someone who's yeah like, you only have your job because you're a woman and you're probably dumb, and like I can't believe you said that, like that's a mistake, like don't you know this. um so definitely I've gotten more used to it. I used to like try to like write like witty comments back to people to like, you know, show them, but now I just sort of block them because I just don't find it worth it. And I often see that the people who are writing like the worst comments, they're writing it on like all the women tech people's videos. So I'm like, we should just all block these people out of our circles. They should not be able to see any of our videos. That's sort of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I think that there's like parallels to that in real life too. There's just those people out there who are just something about seeing women like make their way up in these spaces really bothers them, and they're just trying to tear you down. But you know what? Like seeing both of you guys here today, I think is very powerful to us, and I hope both of you keep doing what you're doing. Samin, how have you navigated this space?
Quite similar to Liz, actually. Like she mentioned, like one, you can have lots of nice comments, and then one mean comment can really hurt you. And a common theme that I've noticed across all women in tech type of videos is the comment that Liz mentioned, where it's like, oh, you got the, like, actually yesterday I was giving advice. I made a TikTok giving advice on how to break into the cybersecurity industry without technical experience. And someone commented, well, it's easy if you're an attractive young woman, your boss will hire you because he wants to bone you. That's literally the comment. And I would, in another, like before when I was starting out, I would have like Liz mentioned, written out a witty respond, or even like replied to the comment using a video and like explaining or whatever. But I don't give my energy to those comments anymore. I delete the comment, block the person, and that's it. And then somebody even mentioned, like, made a really good video about dealing with these type of comments, is that if you let it stay and if you respond to it, it's just, not only will it, like, yeah, maybe you'll get your message across, but it's gonna really bother you because you'll have added more thought into it. But if you just delete it right away and block it, then you don't have to worry about it. One of the other things I dealt with was, well, I have my messages on TikTok off from anyone unless they're my friend. So, and then on Instagram, people would send like crazy messages, and a lot of time they're like, hack this, hack that, or do this, do that, and they end up in your message requests. And a lot of times, if they can't reach you through that, they'll start harassing you in the comments of your videos. They'll be like, I sent you a message, you think you're so cool, you didn't respond. Or even like sometimes people they're like, I'm gonna dox you or whatever, meaning like I'm gonna expose where you live, whatever not, right? And it's kind of scary to deal with that, because you do want to share, you want to put yourself out there, you want to share with people, but then there's people like that, and they're not joking, they'll actually go and do that. So when I've gotten things like that, I've screenshotted their profile, I've written like a lengthy thing, and I've also like kept it for later for myself, just to protect myself, just as a tip from others, like if you do get messages like that, to document it, to protect yourself. And I've also had to turn off Instagram requests, which is really unfortunate, because a lot of times you'll get cool, like this opportunity came to me through an Instagram request. So it's really unfortunate, but you just have to also protect yourself, and also protect your mental health as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry you got that message just yesterday. That's disgusting, but I'm happy you're navigating it in such a positive way. And yeah, it seems like both of you are really making the most of it, despite like how difficult it can be. And that makes me wonder, have you guys, maybe not necessarily in this TikTok space because TikTok is so new, but just as a woman in tech, just someone, both of you guys seem like such strong women. What role has mentorship played in your career, and just where you're at today? Liz, you can start.
So I talked about a little bit when I started about I found a community of women when I was in university, and in our final year of university, we actually started a women in CS group for our university because we didn't have one. And that was like really great to have this community. And then we were able to connect with some people who had recently graduated and were just starting out in the workforce. So we actually were able to hold some events where we got to connect with women who are in the workforce. That was like, it's really good to be able to hear about what it's like to be in the real world as a software developer, and hear that people still have struggles, people still run into bugs they don't know how to fix. That was like really important for me to hear. Also, like seeing women a few years older than me really having success at work was super important. Like lots of my friends and I were like, we are never going to catch up to these guys who have been coding since they were 12 years old. That was like a common theme for us. So then to see some women that we knew who were 2 or 3 years out of school and having like a lot of success at work, like if they are doing it, that means it's possible that we may be able to do it as well. And that was so important for us. I will say, like when I first started my full-time job, I like definitely really, really struggled with imposter syndrome. Like I was like, I am not smart enough. I am too dumb to learn. Like I can't do this. And then when I finally opened up with my lead about like these feelings about how I'm not good enough, like I think I should quit, like I'm like pulling the team down. That was like a groundbreaking experience. Like he was able to be like, no, like you're doing well, you're learning. It takes a long time to learn, it takes a lot of effort to learn. So just like sharing those feelings with someone, that like lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders. And then I was able to like actually like get a lot better at work because I wasn't so worried all the time about like how bad I was doing. I was like, at least someone thought I was doing okay, and like maybe I will be able to get through this. So those are like two experiences that were like very important to me that helped me get through to where I am today.
Yeah, I totally understand the importance of community, which is I think why our organization like wants to bring everyone together, and I think it really makes a difference as well. So thanks for sharing that. Samin, what's it been like for you?
Yeah, it's really important to find a community. And I think when I studied through that program, through the women's program, we had a women's stream, and it was just 20 women studying together, getting this bond. And it was really beautiful because we were all in that same journey. We were all from different backgrounds, transitioning into cybersecurity. So being able for everybody to have that same background and then coming together was very helpful. One other thing was the professors we had. They were very inspiring. They were very like they wanted to see women flourish in the space, and seeing that is a really nice, it's like a breath of fresh air. One thing I did face was when like doing interviews, you can tell by the way that you're being interviewed, or you can tell in certain situations if the type of culture that an organization has. And oftentimes you could see red flags in an interview, like will you as a woman be able to flourish in that space? Will you be valued? Will you be given the same treatment? And these are important questions, I think, to ask during interviews, because not only is a company interviewing you, you're also interviewing your company. And I'd say it's really important that if you see any red flags, to not to really assess the situation before accepting anything, because even staying in that situation for a couple months could be really draining. It could really harm your mental health. It could really make imposter syndrome much worse. I know imposter syndrome is something you're going to have to deal with, but like sometimes certain situations can make it a lot worse. So I found that I like to surround myself by people who are uplifting to women, to everybody, to women of color, to just everyone, that they see everybody equally, which is really important. And to also surround yourself with good mentors in the community, to have those women that you can talk to be able to share your experiences with them, to go to them for advice if you need something. So it's really important to surround yourself with the right people, and to be careful of not to get into certain environments that may be toxic in that way.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice. I'm definitely going to be trying to apply that to my own day to day. And then a question I have is, are there any women that you can think of that inspire you? Samin, since you were speaking, if you want to take that on.
Sure. I think this is gonna sound cheesy, but my mom really inspires me. And because I've seen her switch career paths so many different times and not be afraid to do so, and like she's followed her passions all the time. She hasn't let what other people have said bother her too much. And I think that was a really big driving force for me when I was switching careers, because I am in my late 20s, and people will often they'll discourage you. They're like, oh, you've already spent this amount of years in this industry, why are you making that switch to this? Or they'll discourage you, right? Or even like when going into tech, they're like, have you seen, like, you're not going to be able to flourish, there's so many men, it's a male dominated industry. And just seeing my mom always like defy those like traditions or whatever not has really inspired me. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. Like, moms are amazing. Liz, who's someone that inspires you?
So before I even started TikTok, I followed this woman on Twitter, Emily Cager. She's a woman in tech, and she's very like unabashedly herself. Like she takes down the haters. Like she is just very strong. And so I thought, yeah, she's like super cool woman software developer. And then she actually started creating TikToks as well. And then through TikTok, we were able to connect and talk. And that was a really cool experience for me. Like someone who I thought was like so cool, I was able to like talk and become friends with. Just like another cool thing that's come out of TikTok. But I definitely recommend you follow her on Twitter and TikTok. Yeah, she is very much like her authentic self and doesn't want to like let other people bring her down.
That's awesome. Do you mind repeating her name?
Emily Kager. I think that
Kager.
it's Kager. If you find her on Twitter, then she should be able to find her on TikTok as well.
Nice. Awesome. I love hearing about other like amazing women out there. I think I low-key felt that way about you too. So it's like a cycle. And then another question I have is, so we have like a range of people in the audience. We have people in high school, we have people in college, we have people already in the industry, entry level, senior, whatnot. We have some men in the audience too. So what advice would you give someone getting into tech, getting into TikTok, or just any resources in general, maybe anything you just want this community to know? Yeah, whoever wants to start off.
So my general like life advice and tech advice is don't be afraid to be wrong and don't be afraid to tell other people they're wrong. So the first part is like, I remember when I was like first starting out as a software developer, I was always so scared about like putting up my code for review because I'm like, what if I didn't think of the most perfect solution? And like, what if like, yeah, someone's going to tell me that there's a better way? That's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay. That's how you learn, is by doing things, by being wrong, and then by someone suggesting a better way. So it's definitely a hard thing to like get used to, especially like lots of women, they try to be more in the perfectionist type of thing. So don't be afraid to be wrong. It's okay. But also don't be afraid to tell other people they are wrong. Like, I'm not going to say like you should like be bashing people all the time, but like you have to think about if at your job, you're going to have like goals and like things you're trying to accomplish as a team, probably. And if you think that the way something is going is wrong or inefficient, it's your job to share your opinion and let these people know, because all of you are going to be working towards a common goal. And sometimes that to get to that common goal, you have to tell people that they are wrong, which can be scary because like they might be your friends or they might be more senior than you. But you just have to be like, it's my job. I think they're wrong, so I have to tell them and I have to share your opinion. It's good to have opinions, as long as you can then listen to their opinions as well. So I keep that like on a note on my computer. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to tell other people they're wrong.
I love that one. Thanks for sharing that. Simine, what would be your like last bit of advice that you would want for this community to hear from you?
For sure. I really love that, Liz. That was great. And I'm gonna kind of build off on what Liz said, like don't be afraid to be wrong and don't be afraid to tell others that you're wrong, is that you're not gonna know everything. So don't be afraid to admit that you don't know something, and take everything as a learning experience, like a learning experience. The more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to learn. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to provide constructive criticism and they're going to give good feedback, and take it like that. Don't take it personally. If you actually listen to that and apply it, it'll help you grow as a person. And the more you learn, the more experiences you have, the more you're going to be able to absorb things and actually like expand your mindset, grow and learn. So never be afraid to admit that you don't know something. And always, even at work, like talking to senior level people, they've said that they use Google all the time. Like everyone's in the same place. They're all just trying to figure out, we all know different things, but we all don't know everything. So don't be afraid to admit that you don't know something.
Love that. Thank you both for sharing all of that. So we do have a few minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to post it in the chat. We can open it up to some Q&A. Maybe Fatima and Hareem, if you guys have any questions, we can start off with you, and then we can move into the chat if you're seeing them. I'm on Zoom desktop, or the website instead of like the desktop application, so I feel like I'm not able to see as much. Yeah, also if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to unmute and you can ask as well. Yeah, let's give it a couple minutes. And if not, like if people in the audience just want to introduce themselves, you can go ahead and do that as well. Fatima, I see you're unmuted.
I was just saying there's nothing in the chat yet. So
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm gonna
That's all
switch
good.
back to gallery mode. So if anyone else wants to talk, you can also talk and ask questions. Feel free.
I was gonna say,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Liz actually, because she mentioned that she was that Shopify reached out to her by seeing her TikToks. I'm curious to learn more. Like, what was the process like? What did they see? Like, was there a particular TikTok that grabbed their attention? That's really cool.
So I'm not sure if there was a particular TikTok. So one day I got a notification on Twitter about a new follower, and I saw that it was the director of partnerships at Shopify. And so my previous job was actually working as a Shopify partner, so like building Shopify integrations. So when I saw like director of partnerships at Shopify, I was like, ooh, that's like pretty cool. I'm gonna follow her back. And as soon as I followed her back, she sent me a DM on Twitter being like, I found you on TikTok. You're doing some really cool stuff there. Do you want to come work at Shopify? And so I ended up having like some chatting with the team, some interviews. Just they really liked how that I could communicate and engage with developers and do it in a way that was creative and different. So very bizarre, but
That's
I
so
ended up getting a job that way.
That's so cool. That's sick.
It's
So, and
it's
I
so
actually like, have like a fair amount of people reach out to me saying that like job opportunities from TikTok. Like people will message me on LinkedIn because they're like, I found you on TikTok. Would you like be interested in doing something creative like at this company with tech? Or I've had people being like, I just see that your passion in tech is there. Like, would you be interested in like interviewing for our team? So I have definitely got a lot of opportunities from TikTok. Like the VP of software engineering at American Express, she also makes TikToks, and like
Cool.
I've been able to like connect with her, and like it's crazy. So those have been some of the good things that have come out of it.
That
Thanks for
makes me
sharing.
wonder. So if you have like so many opportunities, and you only have like so much time and you can only commit to like so many things, how do you decide that where you're at is like the best option?
Yeah, so that's definitely interesting, especially like 24 hours after I accepted the job from Shopify, like several FAANG companies actually reached out to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I never would have like thought about this. But I also like I'm just rolling with things. I also like I don't want to take on too much, like more than I can handle. Like that's something that I try to keep in mind. Like when there are a lot of opportunities, sometimes you have to say no because it's like I know I need to have like a rest sometimes. So just weighing the pros and the cons and knowing that like so you may have let one opportunity go by. There's probably going to be another one come as well, because that's something in the beginning I was like had to say yes to everything because there's all these opportunities, and then as more and more kept coming I was like I can't say yes to all of these. But yeah, I just sort of know that it's okay to say no because a new opportunity will probably come as well.
That's a great perspective to have. I feel like sometimes I'm kind of like thinking about all like the opportunities lost, but yeah, just focus on like taking it day by day, I guess. And yeah, I see a question in the chat. So someone who recently just joined TikTok and says I'm not sure Z if you're a girl or a boy, but this person didn't know if didn't know there was an entertaining, educational side. Maybe you guys can talk about the other tech TikTokers that you guys enjoy. You mentioned you're inspired by other folk. Maybe some other people we can check out.
For sure. There actually is a fairly big, lots of people have been making like tech TikToks, and there is like a lot of people who try to like use TikTok to provide educational content. I think it's like there's Life by Sophie. She creates videos about being a software developer.
Yeah, I think I have some too.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you guys use hashtags also when you're creating, or is that, it is, okay.
Yeah, I do fairly like the same hashtags, like usually for most of my videos. And I've found that the times I don't use the hashtags, the videos don't do as well. But then some people have a lot of success without hashtags. So
Yeah.
it's a mystery.
Yeah. It's interesting because sometimes I'll see something on my For You page and I'm looking at it and it has none. And I'm like, how did this get here?
Yeah.
Interesting algorithm for sure. Yeah, if there aren't any more questions,
Sarah,
sorry.
yes, hi. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, of course.
So I am not a TikTok user, but obviously I'm aware that it's very popular. My generation is a little older than your generation, so I haven't, gotten there yet. But I'm curious, and this could be for anyone who uses TikTok, but I'm curious where you think TikTok will be in the next few years. What is the future of TikTok in your opinion?
I'm going to direct this towards our speakers.
That's a tough question because even if you look at other social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it's hard to predict because as you could see, like Facebook, it started off and it was very prominent with my generation, the millennials, and then slowly faded away. And now it's predominantly used by your baby boomers and your more senior population. Whereas Snapchat, after Instagram updated Snapchat, like when Instagram added stories, Snapchat usage declined by like 40-something%. Now TikTok has that reels, quick videos, and now TikTok is trying to copy Instagram by allowing longer videos, and Instagram is incorporating reels to encourage more people to create content like that. So honestly, like I feel like it's all based on what users want and their trends, because TikTok saw that millennials, Gen Z have a very short attention span. So giving them like 15-second videos is going to really really do well with them. And it did. But now, like, as we progress, like, there's future for like, there's AR, there's VR stuff going on. So like, I think a platform that's really able to grow and incorporate these trends is going to do well. I personally can't say anything or don't know where TikTok will be. Like, as long as they're incorporating those trends, I could see them growing. But then there's also Clubhouse came. I don't know if you guys are on Clubhouse came, and then it very slowly, like I kind of feel like it's not the same anymore, very slowly died down. So it's just being able to pick up on those trends, seeing what's happening in the world and incorporating that.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I think from my perspective, the one thing that I think TikTok stands out to me about is like the algorithm is just so spot on sometimes, like that For You page. So also, I'm not sure if you mentioned, like you said that you don't really use it much, but basically the For You page is like this equivalent of like a news feed, but it's catered towards you, and it's just so spot on sometimes based off your interests, based off things you like, based off of where you're located. So yeah, I think that's really interesting to think about too. There's another question in the chat. It says, by Ahmed. He says, questions for the speakers. Do you ever feel burnout from making TikToks? And if so, how do you cope?
I definitely felt burnt out from making TikToks. In the first 6 months I was making them, I was making like 2 every day because like I was having so much fun. I had so many ideas, and then you know, it's been like a year and a bit later. I definitely had to like sort of like slow things down at the beginning of the year because I was really tired. But I think Samin was sort of talking about this, like it's okay if you don't make them all the time, and you're just sort of like you just have to like, yeah, give yourself the time. And I found that like once I sort of like gave myself a break and I wasn't like stressing out about it, like, oh my gosh, I haven't made a TikTok in like 10 days. Like, ugh, I'm just doing it for fun. So it's like give yourself a break, get re-inspired, those sort of things.
Yeah. Samin, do you have anything to add on to that?
No, I'll just echo what Liz said. If you're not having a good time, if you're feeling so much burnout, then you might not look forward to making TikToks anymore. So it's important to give yourself that break to really enjoy the process.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to say thank you both so much for speaking today, taking out a time in the middle of your Saturday. And also thank you to our amazing audience for all the questions and for attending the whole thing. You can find both of our speakers on TikTok. Their ads are in most of our flyers that we've tagged, so feel free to check them out. I've posted a link again to all of our social medias. We have a LinkedIn, we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, Instagram. Like sometimes a simple like goes a long way because it might come into someone else's Explore page. There might be a young girl interested in tech and she might see this and pursue a career in it. So little goes a long way. And I, again, thank you both so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. And have a great Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ending in 3, 2,
2.
1.
Blast off.